Hey, I'm Reece, and today I'm going to show you how to make some hollandaise as well as poached an egg. So to start off, I have 3 egg yolks. I have some white vinegar. I've made it into a vinegar reduction, which basically means I've taken about 100 mils of vinegar. I put it with some hard herbs like thyme, a bit of sage, as well as some black peppercorns. Reduced it down till about like 10-20 mils, quite syrupy, just because it intensifies the flavor. So I whack that together with my egg yolks. I give it a little mix, and then after this, I have a just under simmering pot of water on, and to help me out and to stop the bowl moving around while I cook out the eggs, I just put a wet cloth on the side. So just over the heat, just really gently, I'm just whisking all of my egg yolks, and basically I want to take it until it's about around like 55-60 degrees, and the good way of knowing when it's like that is that it'll be quite thick as well as pale in color as well. So hollandaise is quite good with quite a lot of things, a lot of breakfast stuff. I mean, you can have like smoked salmon and eggs and hollandaise. That's like the kind of classic thing that you have. So it'll take a while as well, and while you're whisking, you also just want to make sure that you get all around the sides as well. It's good to have like a spoon or a spatula as well, just to get everything off the sides, but it's very easy to do with a whisk as well. So as you can see now, the egg yolks have started to pick up a bit of volume. It's a little bit lighter, but we still want to keep going just a little bit further. So while this is going as well, one of the other things that you should have ready is clarified butter. So it's just butter, and probably for 3 eggs, you're going to use maybe around 300 grams of clarified butter. So you want to melt all the butter, leave it sitting for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then the milk solids and proteins will separate from the butter fat, and then you just you either just scrape it off with a spoon and then slowly pour it into this to emulsify afterwards. So you want to also have that ready on the side warm, because if it's cold it might split the emulsion. So it's starting to get more pale, but we still want it to go a little bit further. Another very good way of knowing when it's ready is that you should take up the whisk, and you should be able to make a figure 8 and for it to stand up. So that's probably at the level that you want to start adding the butter in now. You can see that it holds quite a bit, and over time, because the bowl is still quite warm, it'll still keep cooking. So here I have my clarified butter. Just to make my life a little bit easier, I'm just putting it into a pouring jug. So this is where the towel really comes in handy, just to keep the bowl down, because I can might put another one. I can keep it there, I can whisk it, and I won't jump around everywhere. So my butter's warm. So I'm going to slowly emulsify it in. So just like pouring a slow and steady stream, just whisking in. If I have quite heavy hands, so sometimes I put in a little bit too much. So if you do that, you can just stop the stream and just whisk it all in. If you pour too much in at one time, it has the potential to split. So what I like to do is I like to put a little bit of butter over the heat just to make sure that it's all nice and warm. And then after that, I transfer it to the bench and then emulsify it more into there. So a trick for the bowl to stop moving on the bench, just a tea towel, basically curled up and then around the bench. And then you can rest the bowl in it. One of the things about hollandaise is that it needs to be quite temperature controlled almost. So you don't want it to get too hot because it'll split, but you also don't want it to be too cold because it won't emulsify and then it will also split. So when it gets too thick, a good thing to do is add a little bit of water. Just to thin it out a little bit. So once I've added in all of the butter, I like to put a little bit of lemon juice at the end, so just because it needs a little bit more acidity as well as it retains its freshness as well. And then all you need after that is just a little bit of salt. About 2 decent pinches. And then, so that's the hollandaise done. So next up, we'll poach an egg and we can have them together. So you want to bring the water up to a simmer. You want to add a healthy glug of vinegar. What the vinegar will do will help it coagulate as soon as the egg goes in. So what I like to do is I like to just crack the egg into the bowl first, just so it's a little bit easier to drop in. With my water, I give it a little twirl, just so it kind of creates a little bit of a vortex. This will help the egg poach in a nice shape as well as stick together a little bit more. So then I just drop my egg in. And then you don't want it to boil as well. You need to control the temperature just so it is simmering. You should poach the egg for probably about 1.5 minutes to about 2 minutes. You can always check as well, just by looking at it, you know that if it'll look quite soft, or even when you take it out of the water, it'll be like almost very flimsy. Okay, so that looks good. So it's still quite soft. When you poke it, it does have like a little bit of comeback. What I just like to do is I like to cut the tail up just with a spoon as I'm taking it out. So I've got a tray here with either like cloth or paper towel or anything, just to drain off any water that still has with it. So then bread. With some hollandaise, and that's it, and some black pepper, and that's it.